So welcome on our community Hangouts. Today's meeting is fully dedicated to the Storefront API, updates on the Storefront API from the product manager side, from the development side. So I don't want to waste the time, so let's go with the content. So the first one will be Nishant.
All right, thank you all. Can you all see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So thank you for joining the community hangout for Storefront API. I will give a brief introduction. My name is Nishant Kapoor, and I'm a product manager on Magento Commerce. I work on GraphQL, microservices initiative, and Storefront API, obviously. And I'll give you kind of a vision where we are headed, what we are building towards. So if you can see my screen, this is kind of an end state block diagram. It's not an architecture diagram. Obviously, the stack will not look like this when everything is done, but logically, just to describe where we are building, this is a pretty good representation. So before we jump into Storefront API and microservices, I would like to start with the first layer that you see on the top, which is Commerce Data Graph. This is the entry point for all headless clients. So anyone who is building either using a Magento PWA or building their own React app or using AEM or building any customer touch point, this will be the entry point for all clients. And right now we do have a GraphQL layer which is tightly coupled with the monolith. And what we are doing is taking apart that GraphQL layer and rebuilding it into its own graph server, which will be a node-based graph server. And that will serve as the entry point to all the services that are offered by Magento Monolith, Magento Microservices, Magento SaaS, and that will also serve as an extensibility point for partners and developers to integrate to their own services they have written, any third-party service that they want to integrate into. So we will do another hangout specifically on the Node GraphQL. But one layer down from the graph layer is where the microservices initiative comes in, which is the Storefront API. So what we are doing is slowly breaking down the monolith into smaller microservices. We are starting with the storefront functionality, the pieces that you need to build a storefront. And we are focusing right now on catalog microservice. So the idea is we will take the functionality out of the monolith without actually changing the monolith. So monolith does not change. There's no impact. You can continue to use monolith. It's just we are taking it out into a separate application. Catalog will have its own storage, and you will be able to deploy it separately into its own container. So we'll start with catalog, then we have search, customer, cart, and checkout. So basically, when everything is said and done, you will have a number of microservices that can be deployed and scaled independently, and those microservices will communicate with the Commerce Data Graph or the Node server via gRPC protocol. And I believe in the last Hangout we demoed gRPC. So if you missed that Hangout, I think the recording, I'm sure, is available somewhere. You can check it out. It's pretty cool. So I will stop here. This is, if you have any questions on the vision, what we are building, please feel free to reach out to me on community Slack. I'm there to answer any questions. Or if you have any questions that you would like to ask now, just put it in the chat window of BlueJeans. As far as timing is concerned, we are looking for an early access program for catalog around Q1 of 2021, so end of the year or beginning of next year. So if you are interested in testing it out, please again reach out to us and we'll chat more. So I will pause here and give the control back to Stanislav. Let's jump into the details.
Thank you, Nishant. Great vision, upcoming plans. So yeah, let's move on to the price group design presentation by Andrii.
Hi everyone. So I will show you the design of our new pricing system. It's just one of the boxes on the diagram that Nishant just showed you. And as you probably know, we have some issues with pricing in Magento right now. And the main issue is that we are building too large index. We are trying to pre-compute all possible combinations of prices beforehand. And for some merchants, this is completely unnecessary and takes a long time. So if we move existing structure to the storefront as is, it will actually double the problem. And in addition to our standard Magento pricing index, we will introduce one more heavyweight pricing index. So this proposal is trying to minimize the work we need to do with prices. And just to remind, the existing dimensions of our price index is product ID, website ID, and customer group. So we are calculating all possible prices for all these dimensions. However, we know that our real merchants are using Magento in a slightly different way. For example, the websites could be used just as a website, a URL, and multiple websites may have completely same price. The same for customer groups. So customer group is very overloaded entity in Magento. We are using it for pricing, we are using it in B2B, in tax classes, we are using it for actually many reasons. And merchants also use it for a class of service for the customers and so on. So what it means is that the actual prices are not always present for each customer group. And I have few examples here where it's possible to reduce the index size in 26 times, in 100 times. And the main idea is to reuse the prices where possible. So if a website number 1, 2, 5, 7, and 10 have the same price, we may potentially use the same record in database in order to serve many consumers, many customers. So instead of one direct lookup into the index, we propose to have one preliminary lookup that will resolve a new entity called price books. For example, we may extract the 10% discount price book from the database, store it in customer session, and then we will look up prices based on the price books. This will potentially reduce the number of records in the resulting price index table. One more issue we have with the pricing is that our price index supposes that we have to store all products there. However, our customers usually have customer group specific prices only for few products in catalog, For example, those custom prices may be a result of physical contract with another companies, and usually the physical contract doesn't affect all catalog of all store. So this is one more opportunity to reduce the size of the index, and that's why we introduce the concept of default price books, which will contain all prices for all products, but it will contain only default prices. And we introduce a customer group specific price books that will contain prices for specific price groups, and in addition for only some set of the products. So now it will be possible to create a price book with single product in it. And we also hope that this will reduce the size of price index significantly. And what else? Yeah, let's talk a bit more about that picture. So on top of that picture, you can see the existing pricing structure for one customer group and one website in the monolith. So we can see the base price here. The next layer is a customer group price. Then we have a catalog rule prices and special price. In the new structure, we will have only 2 layers, and it will be kind of snapshot from the monolith. The system will try to find some prices in customer-specific price book first, and if the price is not present there, it will fall back to the default price, where some price always present for any product in the system. So this is the shape of API. You can see it on our Magento architecture GitHub offline. I will not take a lot of your time reviewing the API, but here is the pull request, Magento price books in Magento architecture GitHub. You can explore it if you're interested. Another thing here is to try to split our customer groups per the use case. We know that our customer groups are used in many behaviors, many places in the system, and we may make customer groups more specialized here. So in that proposal, we also want to have some separate customer groups which are connected with pricing, and another customer groups which are connected with other parts of the system. This will also, we hope that it will reduce the data size in index and make things more clear and structured. One more important feature of new design is that we want to increase the number of supported prices for a single product. For now, it's more or less real to have up to 100, maybe 200 prices per product. In new design, we are targeting for 15,000 prices per product, and we want to make a reliable platform for future, and that platform should include customer-specific prices. So it's not the customer group pricing. We are moving towards the personalized pricing feature. And our existing design of catalog service supposed to have some kind of projection of product that contain all information like SQ, name, and prices. This is required in order to serve search capabilities. We have to be able to filter product by prices, so everything should be combined into one big document. However, the catalog service is designed to handle large number of products, but not large products inside the catalog. That's why putting 15,000 additional fields into the product is a little bit challenging for catalog service. And for such scenarios where we have too much too much prices per product, we will introduce the fallback. So the fallback will happen on the pricing service, and in comparison to the first purple example where we have very few prices in the product and lookup happens in one pass. The second case, which is marked by red color, show you that we're gonna have two passes actually. And in the first pass, we will extract products that are marked with a special flag, which says that actual pricing for the product is stored in this separate service, and GraphQL or some another service will make the consequent request in order to enrich the results with the pricing information. So this allows us to pick appropriate storages for prices and appropriate scale for prices if needed, and make a separation of concerns here. So the catalog will be targeted to handle a large amount of products, of small products, and the pricing service will serve the large amount of prices per product. So I guess that's it. Just to recap and summarize everything, we know that our dimensions are too heavy for pricing, and we can attack the existing problem from three directions. We can reduce the number of products in price books, we can try to reuse the prices for different price books, and we can try to reuse prices for different websites if it's possible. And this proposal just compiles that together.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Andrii, can you also confirm that this design will not require any admin changes? So it's only at storage level?
Yes. So we are building the new system, new storefront system, and we plan to transparently move data from Magento monolith to storefront pricing service. And by the way, here is the raw algorithm, how we do that. Okay, so I think that's it. Us?
Yep, thank you, Andrii. Looks very promising. So guys, if you are interested in some new prices design, feel free to reach out Andrii or to find the issue in the architecture repository, leave the comments and so on. So guys, let's move on and talk about some media content as a part of product data. So Olga Kopylova will tell us about that. Olga, go on.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. share screen. Okay. Can you see catalog images page?
Yes.
Cool. So now let's talk about catalog images, and a note here is that this document reflects general vision for Magento, but it is also focused specifically on catalog images or catalog media to be less abstract and to be able to focus on specific needs that we have right now in scope of catalog storefront project. But in general, it shows our direction as Magento product, our vision on how we handle media. And the main idea is that we want to offload media management to specialized systems and also to make Magento more open to integration with those systems. First, let's start from terminology. So we are all on the same page. So we'll be talking about assets. Asset is anything that exists in binary format. In case of Magento catalog or Magento products, for example, those are images and video, but asset is something bigger, something broader. Also, we'll be talking about DEM systems pretty frequently, and the management systems, and the responsibility of them is to actually CDN, content delivery network, everybody probably aware of them. And when we are talking about media delivery, it's it can be part of them, but in general, this is just to the delivery. Assets, in our case, images, goes to the client, and it can be part of them. Important part because everything would be much more easier if you wouldn't have image transformation. And image transformation yes.
Olga, I'm sorry for the interruption. Yeah. We didn't see your screen right now.
Yeah, we lost screen share and your voice is coming in choppy.
Yeah, I think I have some issues. I thought it was resolved. You see the screen now?
Yeah.
Hello. Once again. How about now? Can you hear me? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, Olga.
Yes.
Okay, let's try to continue. Where did we stop? What did you hear? If anything.
I believe we lost like one or 2 minutes.
Okay. I think that's all my minutes that I had. And again, if it doesn't work, let's try again. If it doesn't work, I have video recording. So of everything, which is 1 hour, I think we should be able maybe to share it. Let's see. But so far, yeah, we are talking about catalog images, and I want to cover our vision on media management or asset management in Magento. And the main idea is to offload asset management to specialized systems. So first, let's talk about terminology. We will be talking about assets in simple words as part of product or catalog. Those are images and videos, but there can be more. We will be talking about DEM systems, digital asset management systems. They are responsible for actual asset management. CDN, which is content delivery network, and its important part usually can be part of a DEM system or built on top of like to the asset delivery is actually the process of delivering the asset to the client, because one thing is just to manage assets and another thing is to deliver. Those can be combined in one system or those can be separate systems. Image transformation, that's I think where I stopped. So image transformation, in Magento we have such things as resizing, rotation, watermarking, but it can be a more broad set of features about image transformation. The main thing is that an admin or an author uploads an image, and then some transformation happens in order to deliver to the client what the client requests or what we configure. So we will talk a little bit about image transformation and how we see it. Magento backoffice or Magento admin, I think everybody knows what is it. We say that Magento admin is responsible for product management and images or assets to the products. Catalog storefront application, this is so this is a representation of catalog, which is managed in theme system product. So catalog provides APIs for the client, PWA or whatever other client we have. Product information, product categories we have. That's about terminology. Next, what I want to cover is scenario quickly and or scenarios quickly, and I want to cover what changes, what's the difference in the vision. And there is a pull request in architecture catalog MediaTek vision where it would be great if you can leave some comments if you have concerns about the vision. For example, you know that some use cases won't be covered with a new approach. So let's go back to scenario. From the purple area, that's where an author or admin do the digital asset management. The system may perform some. Now we go to red area, which is product information management part, where an Magento admin updates or creates a product and also links it to the asset in the DOM. Magento should have some UI probably that allows to select the asset, or it can be API which allows you to just specify the URL to the asset. After that, asset URL or image URL is synced to service for this product, and it will be available on the catalog service API. So here we are saying that we are syncing full image URLs as part of product data, and we are syncing original image URLs only. We don't sync resized images and so on. After that, the green area is how this data is used. So there is a client or there is a visitor. It uses PWA or whatever client we have. And it makes requests to GraphQL, fetches product data, and as part of this product data, we will have image URLs. After that, client fetches those images, and the URLs are pointing to the URLs provided by the DOM system. Usually there will be some CDN involved, and this CDN can also make some transformations because some CDNs support it. I think most CDNs support it in one or another way. If the image is not present, it's being fetched from the DOM system, where there can be additional transformation on the fly as well. several pieces or several areas where transformation may happen, but as you may notice, none of them belong to Magento. Magento doesn't care about transformation, and transformation happens either CDN or in the DOM system, depending on what the system supports. To perform on-the-fly transformations, that URLs should parameters. So, for example, in our case, Magento returns original URL to the image all the way from the admin and to the storefront and to the client. API adds additional parameters to specify what exact like aspect ratio or quality or whatever it needs, and CDN or DOM system returns that kind of image. So that's expected. And let me talk quickly about a couple of things that are changing. So I already mentioned that transformation is not supposed to happen on the Magento side. This may cause some issues for the development scenarios, but we don't expect issues for production scenarios, because we expect that there will be at least CDN even if there is no DOM system, and CDN can provide transformation. For developer scenarios, it is possible to involve web servers such as Nginx or Apache to perform some transformations. Then what else changes? So we talked about transformations. About watermarking. Watermarking is a special case of transformation because this watermarking is not requested by the client, and instead it is configured by the store owner. So I'm just saying that a couple we were looking at, they support some kind of watermarking, and I'm just covering what we what we can use here. So in case of Magento Cloud, we can use Fastly, and with a specific Fastly configuration. If you're talking about AEM products, they also provide some watermarking capabilities. There are still some questions about scoping that would need to be covered in more details when we get to it. But in general, it is supported. And then the last thing is placeholders. So placeholders can be used in couple use cases. One use case if there is no image assigned to the product, and another use case if image is assigned but is not physically present in the storage. In both cases right now, Magento returns placeholder, which can be configured by the. We are saying that we are not going to this logic of deciding whether the image is a placeholder or a real image. So we are not going to handle it on the Magento side, on the side of Storefront. We are going to just return empty string if there is no image assigned, or we will be returning just image URL without any validation whether such image is physically present. And the responsibility of the client is to handle the situation. This gives more flexibility to the client, so the client can decide which placeholder to use. Sometimes it may make sense to provide placeholder as part of the client application and don't even fetch it remotely. So there is this possibility. It's easy for the client now to understand whether it is a placeholder that should be displayed or real image. But in the use cases where client still wants to display Magento configured placeholder, we are saying that we can provide GraphQL API for the Magento configuration, which returns configured placeholders. In that case, again, client decides whether to use it or not, and it can display to support kind of existing functionality in Magento. That's all. From my side, I think I took more time, especially because of the connection problems. But yeah, I'm done here, and please leave your comments in the pull request. Thank you.
Olga, if you don't mind, can you put the link to the pull request in the chat window?
Yeah, sure, makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Olga, for the great presentation. So let's move on to the presentation of the latest changes that was done since the last Hangout. So Misha, go on.
Hey everyone, so let me share my screen. So I will be brief and will not take a lot of your time. Since the last Hangout, we merged 12 pull requests for Catalog Storefront repo, and we covered some functionality related to functional extensibility and functional coverage, like categories. We completely moved to our new catalog API. It's another repo, and it will become a new catalog API in future, I believe. Also, we done with some another types of entities like a bundle products, introduced write API that will help us to communicate to service via gRPC in future. So currently we communicate with our storefront application over introduced API. It's related to storefront part, but we also have, as I said, another repository related to export API, and here we have more work because we trying to add more features, and this repo already use it in production for some our services, maybe some PREX. We have recommendation services. Also, we'll have some search service that will use also this data. And as you already heard, we have a huge proposal related to price books and catalog media that Andrii and Olga mentioned. Also, we have another documents in design. Some of them already merged, some of them still on the work. We are trying to build a unified approach for product options and combine different options for complex products, for custom options, and move it to one entity. Also, we're rebuilding our vision, how we want to save and work with product variants. It's not only related to configurable variants, but we want to have variants for all complex products. So I will send all links to all proposals that we today discussed it and we have in the work to the Slack channel. So in the future plans, it's to extend our functionality coverage, to add more entities that will be handled by Export API and Storefront correspondingly, and also we are working on introducing gRPC. Currently, we still use some in-process calls. We have a lot of work with infrastructure, and I really hope that in some future we will be able to open our repos for all partners for contributions. Maybe in some like not so close future it will be opened for a more wide auditory, but we're still working on this. So that's it from my side. I will send all links to design documents to the Slack channel, so you can check it. And yeah.
Thank you, Misha. So, and the last topic for today, it's actually the demonstration of the category data transfer to Storefront by Kovalenko Sergii from the ObjectWave. So let's watch it. Sergii, are you with us?
Oh, hi, sorry. I wasn't able to unmute myself.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start with the idea how it's implemented right now. So right now we still have monolith, but in the future we will have kind of microservices with network calls. So I'll start with category and category processing and saving. So you can save category from backend or from API, either REST or SOAP API. And after saving category, we need to synchronize data, category data with our new storefront approach. So we have Elasticsearch indexes for this, and we need to sync this data. So how it's working? So on after save of category, we are dispatching feed indexer. Feed indexer, it's a kind of indexer that is taking data from category and writing it to MySQL cache. Right now it's MySQL cache. In the future, no matter where it will be. And also feed indexer is triggering RabbitMQ and publishing an event. This event is saying that we need to take data from this feed, from that cache, and process this data and put this data in Elasticsearch. GraphQL and all requests that will come from GraphQL will fetch this data from that indexer. So basically, it's how it's working. It's just overview of how it's working. Okay, so and now I'm going to demonstrate you how it's working right now. So we have GraphQL extension, and we can just query very basic information like category with ID and some basic attributes with children. So right now you can see that there are no children, and there is only root category, that is category number 2. Right now we are proceeding to admin, and we will try and we will try to add a few more categories, and I'll show how this works. So navigate into categories. As you can see, we have only default category right now. Let's add one more subcategory. Let's say that it will be category 1. I'm not adding any other attributes to it, just saving it. Right now, this category should be re-indexed. It should be cached in feed indexer cache in this table, and new message should be published to RabbitMQ. Then RabbitMQ should take data from feed and should. So we have some IDs, for example, ID number 1 and ID number 2. Category consumer is taking the data by ID number 1 and ID number 2 from this cache, processing it and putting it to Elasticsearch. I'll show you how it looks like. So we have two indexers, and we have this indexer is catalog Storefront v11 category, yeah, and all data is actually stored in the index. Let's just see this. Okay, we have our new category created, and we have also default category. There are only 2 categories right now there. And if you run GraphQL query, we will probably see this new category created. Okay, you see it, yeah. Storefront is working with category 3, so I can create subcategory for category 1, and we'll call it subcategory 1. After that, I can query children of children. And for example, I can query name. And I have subcategory 1 as well. Let's go back to category 1 and attach, let's say, some products to it. I have few products. configurable and virtual, saving this data, and I need to query these products as well. So I am on the level category, and I'm just querying products, items, view, name. And I also have, as you can see, two products. It's configurable product and virtual product. You also can get count of the products with product count attribute. You can see here the products. We can change, for example, include in menu attribute, set this category to be excluded from the menu, and let's see if it's excluded. As you can see, it's set include in menu false. That's basically it. It's very pretty. It's pretty short from the demo perspective, but it was a lot of work on this because category has a lot of attributes, and we needed to take into account of the attributes. Thanks. Maybe someone have some questions.
That looks great.
Thank you, Sergii. It was a great presentation. So actually, guys, we have 11 minutes left. Maybe someone have questions. I saw a lot of them on the chat, but some of them maybe we can discuss. So feel free to ask. Okay, if there are no questions, so thank you all for attending this meeting. Thank you guys for sharing the information, and see you next time.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.